Hello there, cutie pies. ICOSA has pumped to the moon, or so it seems, friends. You see, we can use the ratio to see there's still a long way to go, but I've got to tell you something more important. In the ICOSA update released by Alex in August of 2023, okay, when he hasn't done the update, but in his writings, he said that when the protocol is made, IcosaHedron v2, so the new ICOSA, okay, and the mechanism and how it's going to work, it's going to treat pICSA and eICSA as one ICOSA, which means there is a one-to-one arbitrage. Now, what this actually means is as well, there will still be two coins. So your pICSA that we own now and your eICSA that we own now, we will have to, so it doesn't matter if you have one or the other, friends, it's okay, they're around one-to-one now, but just telling you, we will have to, we have a 30-day window, we've got to migrate, and then when we migrate, you get the new versions, but in the new cross-staking mechanism and what everything is going to do, and it's called like almost like a Unity project, the protocol, when it uses your ICOSA, it doesn't matter if it's P or E. So that's why it's probably going to be a one-to-one arbitrage, because it's the same as, okay, it's the same as this. It's the same as if Richard Hart made a hex upgrade, and this hex contract, it gives out hex rewards, but there's only one hex reward, and you get the reward whether you use P hex or E hex. You still get the same reward. Do you see? So that's what it would be like. It would be like, okay, you want to stake for a new T share, for example. So that's the thing, right? So a T share, if you notice, it's like 32,000 hex, whatever it is now. So if he made an upgrade such that 32,000 E hex is the same as 32,000 P hex, and it would give you the same inflation reward, well, when you want to stake, you would go buy the cheaper E hex up to parity and then go do it because it's cheaper. Well, that's what Alex is doing for IcosaHedron. Now, the ratio is around 1-to-1, but we've just had, because it's very, very thin, friends, like I can't tell you how early we are. Oh my gosh, it's so thin. Wow. So like we're so thin where $5,000 is 11% slippage. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like the slippage is insane. Even, by the way, $1,200 is slipping 4%, 2%. We're so early, man. Okay, now this is the chart pattern I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is ICOSA. I made many jokes saying ICOSA's up 33%. So the technology is rapidly improving. All right. I'm wearing a Pokemon bucket hat, just to remind you. They are lottery tickets, but you can kind of tell this is good. It's more of an expansion pack to Hex, but still, technically, we're all lottery tickets, aren't we, friends? So the chart I'm showing you is ICOSA Hex. But this is the pICSA, okay? So what I'm now going to show you is I'm going to show you the ratio of eICSA to pICSA, which is what, before you buy, if you buy, you shouldn't buy, not financial advice, but if you buy, have a look at this ratio first. And I'm going to put it in the description below because the link is a bit wonky, all right? So this is it right now. This is eICSA, pICSA. Do you see this number, friends? See, it says top right, 0.8174, but you can also see it here on the right-hand side. So what I can do is just show you if you wanted a line, just so you can see where 1.0 parity is. That's around here. Now, you might think, oh my gosh, there's like extreme arbitrage. Not really, because a 20% deviation, like it's only literally like $10,000. Which is nothing, right? $10,000 basically makes it snap up. You know what I mean? It's not that much. So yeah, if you find, so what we might find is before the update. Now we don't know when the new update's coming. I heard somebody said April. I don't know why they just said random month April in the chat, but it wasn't Alex or anything. Don't know. It's just overdue. But if you see, I want you to have a look at this. I'm actually going to link this in the description, okay? But if you see this ratio down here, all right, like where it was before, let's say it goes back down here, this would be either they sold eICSA down too low or they bought up pICSA too much. But if you see it down here and you want to get in, Now we know, competitive edge. Alex said that the use case of ICOSA, it's going to be treated as one. Now, it's not going to give you one coin. The market decides it, but it's going to be treated as one. And at this point, you're better off buying eICSA. So right now, here's the thing. Right now, it's 0.8174. So yeah, it's under one parity. So it actually still is technically better to get in to eICSA if you want to purchase. And it's a difference between the cheap zone and the buy zone, the cheap zone and a kind of out of the cheap zone, which I'll show you now. Now, all right, I have it in the thread here to show you, right? So we've gone through all these updates, and like this, I was showing you before when I had made this post. So after I made the post, basically the gap closed more, like 10 or 20%, to show everyone, right? But this is the chart to give you an idea of what you want to be looking at. So this is eICSA, and then that's the pHEX. I know you're looking at all these ratios, but you see how it's still within the box? It's under like 9. You want to be having a look at that because the other one might be a bit too expensive for you, right? So you're just trying to pick the better price. So here's the thing, friends. The ratios have snapped back, right? But see, it's 11. The one I just showed you was 9. Now, when I had made this post, this one was like up to 14 and the other one was like lower. It was like 6 versus 14. That's the same ratio. So they converge. But I'm just showing you so you don't hurt yourself, because I don't want anybody to not try to hunt for a good deal. Always look for a good deal. Always look for value. Just so you know what's going on. Okay. Now, a lot of you, look, at the end of the day, don't worry, man. If you paid a bit of a premium, what does it create? Like, the market cap of these, friends, I mean, still, I want to show you just like how ridiculous we've gone down. This thing, friends, we literally like, I fluked it in terms of like, okay, I already owned ICOSA and Hedron, but it's just like it went down even more. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is ridiculous now. You're down 98%. What the hell? You know, we've got a long way to go now. If it even goes, this is pICSA. Back to launch price, it's a 3x on Hex. 3x on Hex. From launch price. Launch price of ICOSA. I can't believe that ratio. So that means, you know, Hex, right? If Hex goes, pHEX, you can count them as one. pHEX is 2 cents. If pHEX goes to 20 cents, you do a 3x multiplier on that 10x. So you do a 3x times 10 is a 30x. Which would give you, right, $6 ICOSA, bang. So that's 30 cents, right? So maybe we get that world where pHEX is 20 cents, eHEX is 10 cents, their combined is 30 cents, and if you just do that ICOSA here is 30x, both of them 30x, the same. So we're using the ratios to show you. But once again, lottery ticket friends, I'm in a Pokemon bucket hat, please. You need the IcosaHedron update to happen. You need Hex to continue recovering. You need more stakes and people to keep appearing with native trustless yield. They want the Hex stakes. You want them to keep hunting the yield. And then as that happens, remember the thesis, just don't read the thesis. Just you can see I can see the long-term vision to show you. All right, if people have to stake longer to get more yield, they will be participating in auctions more. Because, like I said, if you're going to do a 1-year stake, friends, I'm just telling you right now, and it doesn't impact me whatsoever. I'm just telling you right now, you should be doing it through the Hedron app, which is IcosaHedron. You should be making your stake through there. If you're doing any stake, I reckon even longer than 6 months or longer. Because, actually almost any stake, friends, because what happens if your wallet gets compromised? If your wallet gets compromised, you never know, man. Like, what if you have a virus on your PC? Okay, like there are some people, friends, you've had a virus on your PC. Maybe you have children out there, they installed like a Trojan or a keylogger on your wallet, and you're really scared. You're like, oh my gosh, if they have downloaded all the data on my PC and they have my admin key, basically my seed phrase, they can steal all my Hex stakes. But here's the thing. If you didn't do the stake through Hedron, you don't have an NFT of it. If you did it through the Hex website, now you're wrecked. Because if they have your key, you can't do anything about it. They can go to your freaking address and just emergency end stake it and just immediately steal it. But if you're paranoid and you're like, wait a minute, maybe there was a keylogger on my PC. I'm scared, right? If you have an NFT of your stake, which that's all it does, friends, it's the exact same thing. It just lets you make an NFT of your stake, and if you just hold it to the end as well, right? You just get the normal hex yield. But if you have that NFT, you can just go buy a new ledger and send yourself the stake. And now you're clean. You're fully clean, right? But that's a risk, right? Think about that's helping the security. Imagine there are people out there, if you're going to do like a 3-year, 5-year stake here and there, you never know, man. What if ledger's compromised? Like, you got no idea. No idea. You never know, man. What if you left your ledger somewhere, someone saw it, you don't know if they got the key or not, you just don't want to do that. What if someone knows where your key is, you know? You don't want to live with that. You can't sleep with that. Not with how high these things can go in the future. You just can't. Okay, so knowing this risk, it just makes sense to stake through ICOSA. Now, as more people learn this and do this, it adds that functionality. They will probably be more tempted to place their stakes. Remember the NFT that you have? It's safe. Yeah, some people in bull markets or bear markets, they're going to place it on the market to receive liquidity, which you shouldn't do. You should hold the whole stake to the end, but you know people are going to do it. There's going to be a gap of demand. You know, there's people with like 10-year stakes out there, and then they've served 4 years of it. They don't want to emergency end it. So what they'll do is they'll put it for auction, and someone will buy it off them. Okay, so that just saves basically making a market there. And then that have to be done through ICOSA and Hedron, right? So to buy those stakes, you've got to buy Hedron, which is the IcosaHedron. That's the Hedron demand gets fulfilled. Now the ICOSA demand part, that's the part that might be coming, maybe the cross stake and all these other features. Okay, so that's how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. That's why if you can see a long-term vision, friends, I mean, it means a lot, right? If you can buy, see, if Alex has said, right, pICSA and eICSA, PulseChain and Ethereum one, they're going to be one-for-one treated the same. Now the market can trade them differently, but they'll be one-for-one treated the same in the protocol. If there's parity towards the future and the market becomes more efficient later on, you just got to think to yourself like, you got to think, well, if I can just even get 10% more ICOSA, that's worth a lot, right? If I just showed you, right, it could go to $6. I'm not telling you it's going to go to $6, but wow, imagine it is $6 one day. That means if you were able to get, let's say some people out there, they buy 10,000, right? 10,000 worth. But if they bought eICSA, they might get 11,000. That's an extra 1,000 ICOSA that you'll get, and you'll be able to transfer it over and bridge over when it does the upgrade. That might be an extra $6,000 in the future. And all you did was you helped yourself. All you did was you just look at the ratios that I showed you. You looked at the eICSA, pICSA ratio. Now, here's the thing. The market hasn't actually traded these one-for-one because it's really thin. Like, it could snap it back to one-to-one, but it's not that much money. It's like 5 or 10 grand does it. And that's why people don't see the vision. They're like, why would I bother kind of like moving 5 grand over to make an extra $500, maybe an extra $500 in the future, right? When I don't really like have an incentive to do that. That's why these things, that's why we're early to crypto still. They're really inefficient. That's why I say you don't want these listed on centralized exchanges. If these were listed on centralized exchanges, there would be hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on this who would be like, oh, wow, golly gee, there's arbitrage opportunity here and there. They shouldn't be trading at this ratio, but I'm here showing it for you because you're my friend. And like, if you look at the monthly chart, this is eICSA. I mean, it went all the way down. Now, to be fair, if this is the same as eHex, pHex, the real price is up here, 30 cents. But I mean, like, friends, it's back. You know this rectangle on the left? You know, guess who drew that? Your friend Sami here, right? And I drew that when it went down here like this. It was here. And I just drew this rectangle and I was like, you know what? That's a nice place to accumulate, isn't it? Now, here's the thing. I only accumulated a bit, but I still owned it. I made my video. I think I made my videos here, friends. I accumulated and then it started getting cheap. I made more videos here, but then look, it went down even. Whoa. All right. So look at that. It's just finally, it's come back. If you do eICSA plus pICSA, it is back to here. So maybe that's one way to look at the chart. It's like sideways. So I'm just hoping it goes back up, right, to $2. And just to remind you, Hex was 3 cents here. Hex was 3 cents when it did this. So it's not even like, wow. It's a lot of people, they're saying, wow, this thing's gone up a lot. Yeah, man, this thing dropped 98.5%. Lower than Hex. You know what I mean? You went 98% down against the bottom performing crypto. Because Hex, top 200 coins, Hex was ranked second last behind Luna, minus 99%. So you went minus 98% like that. Ah, man, that's big. All right. Now, so to summary, you get to see, right? So you now know, all right, I want to participate in eICSA, pICSA, and you put the ratio up, which I've shown you. I'll just bring up the pICSA Hex. I know there's a lot of ratios, fans. It's all right. It's all right. It's going to be all right. You know, if you look at it, right, you look at it, hey, it's just outside of the box. But when I showed you, see, eICSA now, because the spread has come back, they're starting to move around. It was just that before when I showed you, before I made my post, one was here and the other one was still like here. You see that discrepancy here? That's the difference. So if you bought eICSA and it went up to the top, you get like a 2x. That's like the extreme of the value. But you see that they're more in line here. I'm just helping you find the better deal. Like even if you can just get 10% more coins, that's worth a lot. Like, hey man, imagine you got, I don't know, imagine we do take over crypto. Imagine we just keep growing and Hex continues to thrive with PulseChain, PulseX, and PulseChain ecosystem, and Alex does more upgrades, and maybe the staked PulseChain comes out that needs ICOSA. So imagine that fulfill that destiny in the next 2 years. If that happens, friends, then even if you bought 10,000 ICOSA and then you bought the eICSA instead, and instead of 10,000 units, you got 11,000 units. Imagine it does go to $5 one day. That's an extra, right? You got an extra, wow, you got an extra 1,000 coins times 5 grand. You know, that's big. And these are the types of competitive, just little edges here and there that you want to look at. It helps just kind of like show you where you are, because really, once we get in this mindset of hunting for this value, you get to do what I did basically. And how did I even pick this, right? I'm gonna make another video on this just to quickly give you a sneak peek, right? How did I even, a lot of people say, hey, there's ICOSA and Hedron. They're both the same, right? They have a ratio here. Why are you just talking about ICOSA? It's because, friends, I'm here giving you the best deal, okay? Because like, look, the ICOSA Hedron ratio, ICOSA was cheap. Look where it used to be. It used to be up the top. See this? And then it went all the way down here. So this zone down there is ICOSA being the mega cheap one. It's just like, well, let's say you have $1 million to put into crypto and you're looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Which one do you put in the bear market? You look at the ratios and you go, wait a minute. ETH BTC used to be 0.08. Now it's 0.05. Okay, so bang for buck. If you just bought Bitcoin, you're going to be all right. But if you're looking at the ratios, you're like, wait a minute, you know, Ethereum is down more than Bitcoin. And if this thing recovers, if Bitcoin recovers in that world, I'm sure this thing recovers as well. So you're taking a bit more risk, but you get more bang for buck. Because if you're buying your Ethereum at 0.05 and it goes back to the ratio of 0.08, you made 8 on 5, 60% more money. So your $1 million, okay, maybe in Bitcoin, it becomes 2 million on a 2x, okay? But in Ethereum, it becomes 3.2 million. Now think of the potential. I just showed you Bitcoin and Ethereum, the most boring blue chip ones of all. Now you can see the potential of what I'm showing you, these ratios of eICSA, pICSA, and just this, all these things as being leverage on PulseChain itself. But this is, we're weaving our way through, because you can't just go and just throw yourselves out here in every single coin, friends, because, you know, there's a lot of work and research that we've done just to build up to the case and just pray that the chain's still going to survive, right? Because remember, a few months ago, it's like, oh, we're all dead. Nothing even matters anymore, okay? So you got to learn a lot today. You got to see these different ratios. That's why I draw these boxes to show you, right? You have to see these different ratios here, up and down. It's still nowhere near the expensive price. It's still leverage on Hex. It is, but yeah, it is moving. It's not as super, super deep cheap from before. You never know. Maybe it stabilizes on some floor later on and you get to participate in something. And I'm just helping you to know, like, I'm throwing people a bone here. I know people have lost a lot of Hex. Not USD value. They actually lost their Hex. So, yeah, I don't want to say free money, but if it ends up recovering, then the expansion packs recover too. They are the leverage on it recovering. But yeah, you got to promise me, which I know you got to promise yourself, that you don't do this gambly piece of poop stuff again. I hope you learned your lesson, okay? Because you don't get these. If you screw this up, we can't go back to these prices. It's game over. You're not getting these ratios ever again. For example, I bought ETH BTC. I bought Ethereum when ETH BTC was 0.018. So Ethereum was like 180 bucks and Ethereum and Bitcoin was like 10 grand, whatever it was, right? The ratio. See that? 0.018. The ratio now is 0.06. I can't go back to get Ethereum at 0.018 ever again. It's literally done. So you got to think. I got a bucket hat. What do you have? You got my friendship. Like, subscribe, bell button, or catch you soon.